Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good night. In the time you are watching this presentation, this webinar, which is the 8th workshop, The Therapist. This is in the sequence of the 12 shops. I'm doing these webinars. I've decided that I would do the webinars instead of making a presentation, a paid presentation. I decided that I would give these presentations freely in my channel. So the webinars were initially to be under a scheme of payment, and then I decided to put them free because I've already done them the continue of it, and I thought that it was better to offer you the possibility of understanding what is the 12 shops and each of one of these courses that I have online prepared for deliver you if you like it or if you want it, but also to improve and to probably develop better techniques and improve the programs, because there are 12 programs, each of one for one of these areas. And in each of these programs, the idea is to work a particular issue or a theme, and to understand how we can improve the relation with that area of life in our personal life as in professional ways, because these are operative shops, workshops, and the idea is to use them in your private life, but also in your professional life as a bunch of tools, a mingle of tools that you can use to improve some difficulties you are having in your work or in your areas of study. This is not to be a substitute to your work or to your improvement daily. It is only to state some techniques, mental techniques that can help you to improve your stamina, your self-esteem, your different assets that you already have, in order to become them more efficient and more aggregative. Okay, this is the idea generally of the 12 shops. Of course, as I develop these ideas, as I build the courses and the programs, I was tempted to go further and further, and I hope to have your help in do so with you. I hope you help me in doing that transformation of my proposals. And today we are here to speak about the therapist, which has to do with the energy of Scorpio, which, by the way, is related to the foundations of knowledge as intimacy as an instrument of creating a family, because the main theme of this shop is about the ability that we must have to be dealing with our limitations and the other limitations, the traumas, our traumas and the traumas of others, and how to cope with that, how to transform that in a valid strength and a way of transforming our lives. Because much of time the difficulties, the entanglements are the basis of transformation, of adaptation. And this is very important in this shop, because with intimacy, with the sexual act, with the proximity, intimate proximity, we are going to know in other their own limitations, as we see our own limitations in that process. So we are in here in a relation shop. We have seen that we have basic shops when we are dealing with making clear and correct behaviors for ourselves, because we are in comportamental discipline. All of these shops have to do with comportamental discipline. So it is to create a couple of tools to create discipline and at the same time regulate the way we work out in the gym, the way we use our resources in the bank, the way we communicate with others, the way we deal with our own traumas of the past. And this is all about ourselves. It is service to ourselves. And then we have other dimensions of service. The service to our own energy, the way we put our personal energy in the world, the way we interact with the world, the way we feel with others, and that has to do with the stage. Also the creativity that we need to be ourselves, and that is also the stage. Then we have the need to dismount reality and to perceive the exact nature of things in order to preserve ourselves and fight against diseases, but also to get some kind of tool to work in a more efficient way, to have a method of work, to develop a method of work and criteria on working. And all of this has to do with the clinic and the proposal of working on the relation of commitment towards the other, to service. So these 4 next shops are about the stage, which has to do with the performance, with the image projected into the audience. Then we have the clinic, which has to do with working skills, how we work with others and are ethical at the same time, achieve results by working in teams, by serving the other and serving our own health, mental and physical. Then we have the 7th shop, which I presented recently, and it is about the identity projected and mirroring others, ability to mirror and at the same time project your own identity and create this idea of criteria and at the same time intuition that is needed to create the perception of reality in order to make partnerships, in order to create solidarity that will bring up your own project, your own idea, and you have to conduct communication in order to do that, but by mirroring in the first phase, okay? And this is all about the firm, the values of the firm, and we are working communication towards the other and identity. So the 5th shop is about projecting into audience. The 6th shop is about working together and ethics and method of working. The 7th has to do with identity and projected communication. And this 8th shop is about feelings and traumas, and about our feelings and our traumas and the other feelings and the other traumas. Okay, so in the sense of we are different from our partner, but still it is needed to have a balance, an equilibrium between me and the other. So the foundations of knowledge of intimacy as an instrument of creating family. Okay, this is the thematic. We have the workshop concept, which I always developed, then knowing the other, which is the main instrument we are going to have in this shop, is the other person and how we deal with it and its traumas and its transformations as we pass through our own transformations. Because when you are a therapist and when you are a therapist and you try to be a top therapist, it is essential that you understand that when you are treating someone else, you are also treating yourself. You are dealing with yourself, with your own self-image and with your own self-identity by the feelings you have and by the traumas you have. And also when you are in a consultation, in a therapy session, it's not only about them, it's also about you, because you interact with that person. You are there, you are present. You have to know the other, knowing yourself. So the first step is, as always, to develop your self-esteem and your abilities, your capabilities of helping others through your self-esteem. You must know, and you must, in this process, to understand clearly what is yours and what is from the other, and put barriers where you need to do them, okay? And this is also very important. So knowing the other, therapy values, know the challenge, and then the perception development techniques. And in these techniques, we will study a bit what is to be a therapist of top and what is needed to achieve it. I have a text, as I always do, this time from Conchi Silva. We have here a text about words, and we talk about words when we were in the third shop, I believe. And when I was talking about it, it was the words in the sense of communication, of non-attended necessities. Okay, so we have also here the non-attended needs, and those needs not attended are here perceived in a different way. They are perceived as identity of trauma, different trauma, and trauma that is brought again, because we speak about bullets, daggers, threats that stain everything that they touch, that hurt. So the trauma, the hurt, it's the basis of this shop, okay? And we have to understand that words, many times, they just bring to us human beings that are completely destroyed. And the perspective that sometimes reactions and actions has to do with the state of a person in a time, it brings us the clear notion that a relationship of some sort, of any sort, I would say, is always about trauma with trauma, feeling with feeling. And this is very clear here. For the Scorpio energy, for the shop of the therapist, for the therapy, there are always two sides. There are clearly two realities, different egos, different essences. And sometimes what we have is someone fighting on his own or fighting with someone, and fighting on his own with someone also. What I mean with this is we are all the time fighting ourselves, and sometimes we are fighting the other, or sometimes we can arrange equilibrium of these forces, and we can be with the other in this idea of helping each other to our internal fights. This idea of making a bridge, and this is therapy, from one universe to the other universe. It will change both of these universes, but will help that one that is trying to solve his own differences. So this respect for difference, this respect for identity is higher, is deeper, because in this shop, it's not only I respect your opinion, it's I respect your story, your trauma, your voyage here. So it's more profound. When we are talking about this energy of Scorpio, and we are talking about the therapist or the therapy, it's not only about what that person is bringing to the table in order to achieve a material result. It can be that, but it's more than that. It's much more than that. It's understanding that that person has a history, has a past, has a transformative path in which he has traumas, sometimes addressed, sometimes not addressed, is working on that trauma, on not addressed pain, because of course, like in the third shop, we have different needs. We have different needs that you want to be attended, and we express them by words. But those needs in reality only can be attended by the person who is making that same or asking that help in that necessity. So what is important to understand is it is possible that not solving that need, but giving tools for that person solve his own needs is more important. And that's what we do here in this shop. Okay, this shop is all about that, because therapy has to do with giving you tools to solve your own difficulties. Okay, so this is the matrix, okay, the meta model matrix, which is repeated in every shop. So it's a meta model that we use, is the astrological field applied to the areas of life in an operative idea, in an operative way. Okay, and we develop those coaching courses which are associated, in this case, with the therapist of top. So in this particular 8 shop, we are with the energy of Pluto, god of death, responsible for the end of cycles and also sexuality, working on intimacy, listening to others through an active emotional process, confronting ideas, sculpt decisions through our goals. And the workshop is about the other's path to respect the identity of the other human being. The armor is our internal process with frontality and transformation. So knowing the other, actively listen to the others, understand where weaknesses, strengths, and challenges and opportunities lies in the other. Suggestion, mentalization, exercises repeated, waking up and going to bed, reprogramming internal language, modeling, recognizing characteristics in excellent athletes and in professionals and in references that should be copied, embracing difficulties, non-violent internal dialogue, division into stage, the small step technique, self-care, gratitude, creation of social panorama. So here is the knowing of the other by changing behaviors based on awareness of self-analysis, introspection. This would be achieved by 21 days of repeating impulse control patterns for new relationship model with others, self-respect to create discipline, development of emotional agility. Okay, so permanent active listening through frontality, transformation, and exercising patience. Okay, so this idea of being in a permanent state of listening and transformation and frontality, and at the same time being patient to hear what the other has to say, to understand, and to be in a position of intimacy and at the same time empathy with the other is absolute essential. I will bring you here a movie that was very important to me, is The Sweet November, and I believe it has everything to do with this shop. In this movie, this is a story of a girl which was having her test, drive license test, and she met this lawyer, not a lawyer, a salesman. This salesman who has this, so he was an executive and businessman, and he was in the same room as the girl, and they were cheating on their papers, on their tests, on the license drive test. And they have this relation. They get in love with each other. At least he gets in love with her, and then he goes to meet her afterwards. And the story goes on. This is a romantic story. This is a drama. It's not comic. It's a drama, because she was dying of cancer, and he doesn't know about it. She has this rule of flirting with a man for a month, and each month she had a man to flirt with. And this is the month of the November, when she met this man, and basically she just stays with him for a month, like in a therapy. And it was her therapy and his therapy. They were completely destroyed by inside, and they had their traumas, and those traumas came to life, but they tried to live for their own sense of service to others, because in the end That's the main reason for being here, and that's why this movie is so touching, because it tells us that the moment is the most important. It is important to be in the moment. It is important to live the moment, and the rest, the projection, the what we call the desires, it's what destroys us, because many times we live in the future and sometimes we live in the past. She lived in the past, he lived in the future, and they meet in the middle here in this movie. At the same time, we are talking about two stories full of traumas that are confronting themselves, and that's why I've chosen this film for this particular shot. Let's see this part when he goes after her.
Have you ever heard of Phalaenopsis sandariana? It reminded me of you.
Got the job, didn't you?
Best offer anyone ever made me.
So when do you start?
We had a little problem agreeing on that. He suggested immediately. I suggested. Never.
Never?
Never.
So therapy values build, to destroy, because these two ideas of building and destroying what we build is the basis of life. Life is transformation process, so we must build trust, build quarrels sometimes, and then destroy them. So this is a dynamic process in which we cause traumas. Much of time we build traumas, but sometimes we can also build their transformational process. And build, it has to do with everything. Build good and build bad, because if you look from different angles, sometimes what you believe it's good, it's from a perspective, and sometimes it's not the perspective of the other. So building is building a trust, is building something. It's the beginning. And then the destruction, when you bring the reality, when you bring the other, and then breaks down. And then this is going to what was the reason for the trauma, go down to the trauma, okay? To then discover sexual and intimate responsibility, that there are boundaries that you must respect, that you can't continue breaking down without respecting the other. So when you break down together, and you do things together, and you discuss together, and you speak about what you feel, and you speak about what you feel as a therapist, because it's a process where you are involved also. You are there. You have no authority, or you can't have any authority if you are not in the process, if you don't speak about yourself, and if you don't speak about your experience and the experiences you have faced, because that's essential to the process. The other needs your trauma as you need their trauma in order to solve both traumas. And this process is a intimacy process. It's a essential process. And it's also a sexual process, because you are, in some sense, totally naked. Okay, so this idea of being naked in the feelings, in the traumas, in everything you are, it's what is important. Because if you are there in seeing everything what the other human being is, you are able to love him for what he is. And that's the only way you have responsible and accountable behavior, okay, in terms of sexual and intimate responsibility. So builds, destroys, breaks down, and sexual intimacy. Builds ability to perform exercises in slow and rhythmic recognition of others, listening aimed at a better perception of others, destroys, increase the pace, and enters the zone of distraction, fears within oneself. Okay, so destroy the fears, destroy the traumas, perceive and understand what have generated them, and go there and cure them with your, and change them with your new abilities, with new energies that you bring now. Break down, develop emotional agility to understand where is it this, where your space begin and the space of others begin, and this respect to destroy things with the other and in respect through the other and to the other. Control aggression by developing the ability to accept complementary with others, and above all, being able to manage the other space with intimate respect. This intimate respect, okay, is absolutely essential. So, fundamentals of the therapist code: build, destroys, crunch or crunchy intimacy. Okay, this crunch is essentially, okay, to go deeper. Ability to adaptively listen to the other, never stop feeling, adapt the rhythm of acceptance of the other, develop deeper water, permanently overcoming internal and external obstacles with an intelligence in movement, developing the automatic sensation of the other for survival, external and internal threat, through an increasing awareness of emotional and sentimental responsibility, that is, development of criteria in choosing and adapting feelings to the desired final result. Okay, so the therapy values: develop a mindset of gratitude, self-care, getting to know yourself, others, and other people's emotions and traumas, taking care of the image of others, knowing how to position yourself, saying no through behavior, overcoming the fear of ending cycles, create environment for change, create the correct mental map of abundance and expansion, knowing how to succeed with new resources. Okay, the therapist code: build, destroy, crunchy, which is go deep, intimacy. Okay, and these are the fundamentals. This is a passage of the film where she's running with dogs, because she has this occupation of make coaching, dog coaching, animal coaching, and she's letting her traumas go. Okay, it's a bit like making this cleanup of traumas. Okay,
Always a thrill to explore new career possibilities. How much do you charge for this?
I don't do this for the money,
Why do you do it?
because I like it. You can take them off the leashes. Oh, you're so excited, I know. Here we go, race away. Come here. Don't tell your mom, okay? You can let them go. You don't have to.
Your imaginary friend could be. You were partner till the end. And something then that it breaks. Words mistake accepting. Enemies and benefits and benefits. God is your back. What he can be in the world.
so back to our shop. Know your challenge. Understand the psychology that moves other human beings, self-knowledge of others, knowledge of challenge and partner, knowledge of emotional field, knowledge of conditions of change, knowledge of emotional conditions, principles of transformation and change, intuition and agility to adapt, minding the body for excellence and victory over oneself. Okay, this conscience that traumas are in the body is also very important. You already had it on the fourth shop, which was about the kindergarten and the traumas of infancy. Now you see it as another adult and even to death, and understand it in the sense of being here and for here and for what it comes. And this what it comes is the 12th shop, is the spirituality. Okay, but these 4 shops work also with the body. Okay, they work with emotion, with feelings, they work with resources, they work with communication, but essentially they work with and by what happens in our body, okay? So it's important to have this present, have this in motion, okay? So active listening in self-knowledge through an emotional transformation model. Master the law of Sun Tzu applied to this shop, be able to define the moment to launch an assertive feeling. Develop emotional intelligence based on knowledge of realities, direction of feelings, change of mentality, and model the world to release primordial water of feeling. Emotional agility, be able to understand by emotion what trauma is there in you, in the other, and work it in pairs, in couples, because it's what's important in the therapist. Growth through constant adaptation and emotion through spirituality. Of course, traditionally and in a profession, you must be always in the other, in service of the other. And of course, that is what is important. But you have to have the perception that you are working on yourself and that you are in relation and that your persona and your identity will be there also. So it is important that this work is at the same time happening. It's not visible. When I say that it's important that you work with the feelings of the other and with your feelings, I'm not saying that you are going to communicate your feelings. I'm saying that you feel and that you are communicating with your body. And in that sense, you are also working on yourself, but you are not being, because you have that absolute obligation of respect for the intimacy of the other, you are not going to lecture him or to give him some kind of, because that is violating in every dimension the respect you must have for the intimacy of the other. What you must do is to understand the other and understand what is yours in there in order to contain what is yours, because you are in the service of the other, okay? So as he was in the beach, he was not intervening, he was changing internally. She was changing by being with him, but as he was with her, trying and giving her a space and a space of transformation, that is in respect, and it is not spoken. It can be spoken, it can be addressed, and sometimes it can be violent, and therapy can be quite aggressive, but it's also respectful because it's in your own time and in the time of the person who is with you. So this respect for the other and for his time, because it depends on him to reveal or not reveal what is happening. And this is keen, because sometimes the person is resistant to admit the change he needs to do, as most of the time ourselves are resistant to our change. This movie is about two people in change, and it's about changing at the same time, but internally. Okay, there is something that you see and something that is happening behind scenes, and this that is happening behind scenes, it's so essential as what is said, because the timing is everything on this communication on the therapist. So when I say that both people are building what is mine in what is mine and what is from the other person, at the same time there will be a moment to vocalize and to put outside the traumas and to address them directly. But there must be confidence, trust, rapport enough to that happen, okay? So let's get to top therapist program, the perception development techniques. Increase pleasure in relationship, dealing with the anticipation of pleasure, visual concepts, consents, recover from long breaks, making marriage pleasure lasts, 4 stages of sex. And why sex? And why this? It was what I was talking about. There will be a moment where what I am and what the other person is will mingle, will mix. And the respect, the sexual and intimacy respect has to do with this, to this ability to see the other as different but respectful. everyone is respected, must be respected, and is deemed to be respected. Okay, this idea of the other person be deemed to be respected is essential, and this is the basis of this shop. Any change that you want to do with yourself is your own business, and when you are with another person in intimacy, you share what you are and you respect what the other person is, but at the same time, the inconvenient truth must be said. The trauma must be addressed. The problems, the issues must be faced. And when they are faced, they must be faced with respect, but at the same time with the need and the urge to change. It's when two people know their traumas that they can build together the transformation of their traumas in opportunities and transformations and transformative behavior. And if we think in the sexual sense of this, we are talking about sexual relation to bring a family to the world, to bring something that represent those two traumatic personalities that mingle together in transformation. So there's no old bars, okay? There is a time in this process of perception and developing that need to have perception by the techniques that will bring you to the need to fuse with the other, to understand it to the point of adapt each other to each other, but at the same time maintaining their own identities. Also, it is a process of fusion by identity and by maintaining the identity. And it is in this clear idea that my traumas are still mine and his traumas or her traumas are still her traumas or his traumas is essential to build something new. So something die and something is given birth to. And this idea of given birth is through these techniques that help to do that, okay? So we have here a lot of them, and I will next speak more about it in the course, okay? So I believe we are in this process of getting you to know these techniques, how to quit sex, how to diversify behaviors, intimacy during pregnancies, mentalization and intimacy, tricks you can do at home, looking at others and intimacy, involuntary celibacy, be able to evolve, regular exercises, suster and keep secrets, exotical, physical and mental action, intimacy with more than one partner. This idea of, for instance, the sex and also the intimacy and also the boundaries of everything, but the basics are there, okay? We are all in perception development, okay? All of this is for perception development, okay? So the perception development techniques, growth levels, me and the other, family, society, relation complexity, shared identity, reaching the we, and this all by means of intimacy and transformation. See the other with the heart, okay? Not with the physical, but with the intimacy and spiritually dimension of the being, okay? So fight to discover the essence of the other in you. These are two main scenes of the film. In one, he discovers that she hides her own traumas, in this case disease, because she was a cancer patient, and she didn't want to assume her own limitations in that department. Also, the moment where they get apart because they don't stay together till the end, as most of romantic shows and stories want us to believe. And those are two the definitive moments that I want to bring you here, okay? So let's see the first one.
Mary, will you marry me? Sarah, I stood on the street and I realized this is it. Life will never be better. more sweeter than this. I'm happy. I'm in love. Marry me.
It's incredibly sweet. You don't understand.
No, yes, I do. It all makes sense. I want you. I want this life. Marry me. Marry me.
I can't.
Why not? What about you? For God's sake, Sarah, please just tell me what's wrong. Tell me the truth.
I can't.
Sarah? Sarah? Sarah?
I'm fine. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh, Milton. Milton. No. Milton.
Sorry. Sarah, life isn't perfect.
All we have is how you remember me. And I need that memory to be strong and beautiful. See? If I know that I'm remembered that way, then I can face anything. So you're my immortality.
I want to take care of us.
I'm gonna be alright. I'm going home. And I'm coming. Just like I need to know that you'll go on and have a beautiful life. The one you deserve.
I don't want you.
You have me. Forever. Now let me go.
Always the thematic of ending, of letting others free, even if you have had the best time of your life, even if you have been in deep and profound and meaningful relation, you are still yourself and you are still what you are without the traumas of the other, in your own entanglements and in your own diversity, in your path towards transformation. And this idea that the moment you live, the moment you had, it will be forever, it is the reminding that life is transformative by its own nature. Everything is dying and borning again, and this is the reality of life. At the same time, everything is in a time alive and in sustain itself, as the traumas itself sustain. Also, the good times, the times that we sometimes cherish inside ourselves, are there, and they still are there, and they will go on, the bad times and the good times. If we think about Fritz Perls and the Gestalt theory, it's exactly what he has to say. The best moments always are a source of happiness. When we think about some techniques we use as the circle of excellence, we are going to get to those moments. Is a technique that goes to enhance moments with the moment, the original moment of happiness. And that association we have in anchors, which is another technique of programmation, neuro-linguistic programmation, also help us to transform. So bad things and good things, really, they always exist. And that's what she is saying to him. At the same time, their story was finished. They couldn't continue it because they were in different paths in that moment. And that must be respected. That essential reality of life must be understood and accepted. And this is respect for the essence of one another. Still, the moment they lived it. And that's if we have this pattern, we'll not be enclosed psychological to traumas and moments. Generally, people want to maintain the trauma moment or the moment, which really is just a prison, and you have to break free from that. And what these perception development techniques give you and is the ability to cut down those chains. I will use this, it's a bit strong, but I will use it, chains that you have to determine moments. So the attachments must be cut down. The chains, the attachments must be released. And you only release them when you truly feel with your soul and you are in the moment. And that moment, it lives forever in that moment. And then you cut it. This is an essential process of this shop. And it is also a technique you can apply in life, in any sector of life, okay? And that's what they are telling here. So I will not pass the scene till the end, because I know you will go and watch all the passage and all the slides. At least I hope that will happen. For now, deepest gratitude. It was wonderful to be here with you, and we see you in the channel. Okay, so bye. See you next time. Okay.